Most men think they lose a woman because they did something wrong. They think it was a message they sent, a moment of weakness, a mistake after intimacy. But what if I told you that most women don't leave because of what you did? They leave because of what intimacy revealed about you. And once you understand this, you will never look at relationships the same way again. Right now, somewhere in your past, there is a moment where everything felt perfect. The attraction was strong, the connection was intense. And then suddenly, without a clear explanation, she pulled away, her energy changed, her interest faded, and you were left replaying every detail, wondering where it all went wrong. But the truth is, it didn't go wrong in the way you think. It went right, too right. Because intimacy removes distance, and distance is where illusion hides. Most men are never taught what women are actually observing after closeness. They think intimacy secures desire. In reality, it tests emotional strength. It tests self-respect. It tests whether a man is grounded in who he is or quietly depending on her to feel whole. And women feel the answer before a single word is spoken. This is not about manipulation. It's not about games. It's not about being cold or detached. It's about understanding the psychological shift that happens after intimacy and why men who don't understand it unknowingly push women away while trying to hold them closer. If you have ever felt confused, rejected, or blindsided after things became intimate, this video will change you. Not by teaching you tricks, but by showing you the truth most men never hear. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn is not comfortable. But it is the difference between being desired temporarily and being chosen deeply. Let's slow this down and look at what really happens, because this is where most men misunderstand the entire dynamic. Intimacy does not create attraction. It does not secure commitment. It does not make a woman emotionally attached in the way men assume it does. Intimacy is not a reward. It is a mirror. And what it reflects is not how desirable you were in the moment, but how stable you are when closeness removes performance. Before intimacy, many men are operating from intention. They are composed. They are decisive. They are grounded in who they are and where they are going. Their attention is calm, not frantic. Their interest is clear, not needy. This version of the man feels safe to a woman, not because he is perfect, but because he is self-contained. He wants her, but he does not require her to feel whole. After intimacy, that illusion of containment is tested. The nervous system is exposed, the ego is exposed, and for many men something subtle but dangerous begins to leak out. They start looking for confirmation. They begin monitoring her tone, her response time, her energy. They start asking questions that are really emotional audits. Did she enjoy it? Did she feel closer now? Is she still interested? And while these questions may never be spoken out loud, they are felt. This is where insecurity shows itself, not as weakness, but as dependence. The man begins to unconsciously shift the emotional burden onto her. He wants intimacy to guarantee safety. He wants closeness to mean certainty. He wants access to remove ambiguity. But desire does not work like a contract, it works like tension, and tension requires two whole individuals, not one person leaning on another to regulate his self-worth. From a psychological perspective, intimacy increases sensitivity. It heightens awareness. A woman becomes more perceptive after closeness, not less. She is watching how you carry yourself when the chase is gone. She is observing whether your confidence was intrinsic or situational, whether your calm came from character or from anticipation, whether your sense of self survives being seen. If intimacy makes you anxious, that anxiety will not hide. It will surface in subtle behaviors, over-communication, emotional over-explanation, premature attachment, attempts to lock things down. These are not expressions of love. They are attempts to control uncertainty, and control is the fastest way to kill desire. Philosophically, this comes down to identity. A man who loses attraction after intimacy often did not lose her because of what he did, but because of what intimacy revealed. It revealed that his sense of value was conditional, that his confidence was borrowed, that his direction depended on being wanted. And nothing destabilizes attraction faster than realizing you are being used as emotional ground. A woman does not want to be the source of your security. She wants to feel secure in your presence. That distinction matters. When intimacy exposes that a man needs her to feel validated, she feels pressure. When it exposes that he is afraid of losing her, she feels responsible for managing his emotional state, and desire cannot survive responsibility. This is why some men say, "Everything was great until we got close." No, everything was unclear until intimacy removed the distance. Intimacy didn't change her feelings, it clarified them. It answered a question she was already asking. Is this man still himself when nothing is being proven? The men who pass this test do not tighten their grip after intimacy. They do not seek reassurance. They do not shift their center of gravity. Their routines remain intact. Their purpose remains primary. Their emotional tone remains regulated. They enjoy closeness without clinging to it. They let intimacy deepen connection, not replace identity. And this is the paradox most men miss. The more you try to secure a woman through intimacy, the more you reveal that you are not secure without her. The more you need closeness to feel confident, the less confidence you actually have. Attraction does not grow where fear lives. It grows where self-trust exists. So the real question is not how to keep her after intimacy. The real question is whether intimacy exposes strength or absence, whether closeness amplifies who you already are or exposes what you were hoping to hide. Because intimacy doesn't destroy attraction, insecurity does. And the moment you stop asking intimacy to save you is the moment it starts working in your favor. Now, let's talk about what actually collapses attraction for most men, because it's not what they think. It isn't a single mistake. It isn't saying the wrong thing. It isn't failing some invisible rule book. It's something deeper and far more revealing. Attraction fades when a man loses his internal frame after closeness, when his emotional posture changes, when the way he holds himself no longer feels steady. Before intimacy, many men are anchored. They have rhythm. They lead conversations naturally. They move through interaction without overthinking. Their attention feels intentional, not desperate. This creates polarity, not because they are trying to impress, but because they are not trying to be chosen. They are simply present in themselves. After intimacy, however, something subtle shifts. The man stops leading from grounded certainty and starts reacting from emotional exposure. He begins adjusting himself in response to her moods. If she is warm, he relaxes. If she is distant, he panics. His emotional state becomes dependent on her signals. And women sense this immediately, even if they cannot articulate it. Psychologically, this is the collapse of frame. A frame is not dominance or control. It is emotional consistency. It is knowing who you are regardless of how someone else feels about you in a given moment. When a man loses his frame, he hands over emotional leadership. He becomes porous. He waits for cues. He seeks permission. He asks questions that signal uncertainty instead of presence. This often shows up as over-communication, too many messages, too much explanation, too much reassurance offered before it is asked for, or worse, reassurance requested in subtle ways, statements disguised as curiosity, jokes that carry insecurity, emotional disclosures that are premature and unprocessed. None of this feels dramatic, it feels slightly off, and slightly off is enough to erode attraction. From a woman's perspective, this shift triggers a loss of safety, not excitement. Attraction is not just about chemistry. It is about nervous system regulation. A woman relaxes into desire when a man feels emotionally stable, when she senses that he is not scanning her for approval, when his presence feels calm rather than contingent. When a man starts collapsing emotionally after intimacy, she does not think he's weak. She feels, I have to be careful. Careful with her words, careful with her boundaries, careful with how close she allows things to get. And once caution enters the dynamic, desire exits quietly. Philosophically, this is about self-sovereignty. A man who loses his frame after intimacy reveals that his center of gravity was external. His confidence came from anticipation. His composure came from pursuit. His identity was reinforced by being wanted. When intimacy removes the chase, there is nothing holding him upright. This is why some men become overly accommodating after closeness. They start prioritizing her schedule over their own. They soften their opinions. They hesitate to challenge. They attempt to preserve harmony at the cost of authenticity. But attraction is not sustained by agreement. It is sustained by presence, by a man who remains himself even when closeness increases. The men who maintain attraction after intimacy do something very simple and very rare. They remain unchanged. Their tone does not shift. Their boundaries remain intact. Their lives remain full. They do not disappear, but they also do not hover. They allow space without withdrawing meaning. They allow connection without surrendering direction. This is not emotional detachment. It is emotional maturity. It is the ability to feel closeness without losing self, to enjoy intimacy without trying to own it, to value a woman without needing her to stabilize your inner world. When a man holds his frame, intimacy deepens attraction. When he loses it, intimacy exposes fragility. And women do not lose interest because they are cruel or fickle. They lose interest because their instincts are responding to instability. Desire does not thrive where emotional balance is absent. So the lesson here is not to become colder or less expressive. The lesson is to become anchored, to regulate yourself before asking anyone else to meet you, to ensure that closeness enhances your life rather than replaces its foundation. Because the moment you stop adjusting yourself to be chosen is the moment you become someone worth choosing. And the man who can remain solid after intimacy is the man who doesn't just attract her once, but gives her a reason to stay. Now we need to confront one of the most misunderstood ideas in modern relationships, because this is where men unintentionally sabotage themselves while believing they are doing everything right. Desire is not maintained by access. It is maintained by respect, and respect is not something you ask for, negotiate, or perform for. It is something that emerges when a man is rooted in his own direction. Most men believe that the more available they are, the more generous they are, the more emotionally present they are, the more secure the relationship will become. They assume proximity equals bonding, consistency equals loyalty, sacrifice equals love. But attraction does not respond to effort the way productivity does. Attraction responds to orientation. It responds to where a man is standing in relation to himself. After intimacy, many men shift their entire center toward the woman. Their schedule bends. Their priorities soften. Their attention narrows. They start organizing their life around the relationship rather than integrating the relationship into a full life. And while this may feel romantic or devoted from the inside, it registers very differently on the outside. Psychologically, when a man over-invests too early, he unintentionally communicates that his life lacks gravity, that his world has room to collapse around one person, that his sense of purpose is flexible when approval is at stake. This does not make a woman feel cherished. It makes her feel central, and being central is heavy. A woman does not want to be the axis of your existence. She wants to orbit a man who already has one. Respect grows when a man demonstrates continuity, when his values do not fluctuate with closeness, when his ambition does not pause for affection, when his self-discipline does not dissolve in comfort. This consistency tells a woman something profound. This man's life is not a reaction to me. I am a part of it, not the reason it stands. Philosophically, this is the difference between devotion and self-erasure. Devotion is choosing someone from a place of wholeness. Self-erasure is abandoning yourself in order to be chosen. Desire cannot grow in the second condition because desire requires two distinct selves. When one dissolves, polarity disappears. This is why respect, not access, sustains attraction. Access is easy, presence is common, But respect is earned through restraint, through standards, through a man's refusal to abandon his inner compass, even when intimacy makes it tempting to drift. A man who is respected does not chase emotional closeness as proof of worth. He allows closeness to emerge naturally. He gives affection without overgiving. He expresses interest without surrendering direction. He listens deeply, but he does not reshape himself to fit what he thinks she wants. And women feel this difference immediately. Respect lives in the nervous system before it reaches the mind. It shows up in how safe she feels disagreeing with you, how relaxed she feels around your silence, how little she feels the need to manage your emotions. Respect is felt when your presence expands her, not confines her. Many men mistake intensity for depth. They think more time, more talking, more sharing will deepen the bond. But depth is not created by volume. It is created by integrity, by a man whose words align with his life, whose actions reflect internal order, whose attention is intentional, not compulsive. This is why men who maintain full lives often appear more attractive after intimacy, not less. Their world does not shrink. Their energy does not collapse inward. Their identity does not become relationally dependent. They enjoy the connection, but they do not disappear into it. Respect also protects desire over time. Passion fades when a woman senses that she is being leaned on for meaning, but it grows when she sees that the man beside her is still moving forward, still evolving, still accountable to himself. Not because he fears losing her, but because he respects his own path. This does not mean withholding love or becoming emotionally distant. It means offering love without self-abandonment. It means understanding that the most attractive thing you can give a woman is not constant availability, but a grounded presence rooted in purpose. Because when a woman respects a man, she trusts him. And when she trusts him, desire has room to breathe. So ask yourself this honestly. Does intimacy make your world smaller, or does it expand it? Do you move toward her by leaving yourself, or by standing more firmly in who you are? Because access may bring her close, but respect is what makes her stay. This is where everything comes together, because this final point separates men who are temporarily desired from men who are deeply chosen. A woman does not stay because a man wants her. She stays because she feels safe with who he is, and safety is not created by attachment. It is created by emotional regulation. Most men believe that showing how much they care will make a woman feel secure. They think consistency means constant contact. They think reassurance means repeating affection. They think commitment is proven by closeness. But emotional security does not come from intensity. It comes from steadiness, from a man who can feel deeply without becoming destabilized by those feelings. When a man seeks security from a woman, the dynamic quietly reverses. He starts leaning emotionally. He looks to her reactions to decide how he feels about himself. Her mood becomes his weather. Her distance becomes his anxiety. Her closeness becomes his relief. And without realizing it, he hands her a responsibility she never asked for. Psychologically, this creates pressure. A woman may not consciously think, "He needs me to feel okay." But her nervous system registers it. She feels watched. She feels monitored. She feels responsible for maintaining emotional equilibrium. And desire cannot coexist with responsibility. Desire flows toward freedom, not obligation. Offering security means something very different. It means your emotional state is not fragile. It means you can handle uncertainty without collapsing. It means you do not rush to fix discomfort with reassurance or control. You can sit in ambiguity without panic. You can allow space without interpreting it as abandonment. This is emotional leadership, not dominance. Not control, leadership of self. A regulated man does not react impulsively to emotional shifts. If communication slows, he does not chase. If distance appears, he does not punish. If vulnerability arises, he does not overwhelm. He remains grounded, present, responsive rather than reactive. This creates a sense of safety that words cannot manufacture. From a philosophical perspective, this is about containment. A man who offers security can hold emotion without being consumed by it. He can experience closeness without losing structure. He can care deeply without making care his identity. This containment allows a woman to relax into connection rather than brace against it. Many men confuse vulnerability with emotional exposure. True vulnerability is not unloading fear, it is revealing truth without demanding comfort. It is saying how you feel without asking her to manage it for you. It is being honest without becoming dependent. A man who seeks security often asks implicit questions through his behavior. Am I enough? Are you still here? Do you still want me? A man who offers security answers those questions through his presence. He does not ask for reassurance because he is rooted in self-trust. He does not need constant confirmation because his worth is not negotiated in real time. Women feel safest with men who trust themselves. This does not mean being emotionally distant or unavailable. It means being emotionally reliable. Your words align with your actions. Your presence is consistent without being intrusive. Your interest is clear without being consuming. You show up, but you do not cling. When a woman feels safe, she opens. When she opens, intimacy deepens. And when intimacy deepens without pressure, attraction stabilizes. This is how long-term desire is built, not through intensity, but through regulation. The irony is that men who try hardest to secure love often push it away, and men who focus on becoming emotionally solid often attract it effortlessly, because security is not requested, it is perceived. If intimacy makes you anxious, that anxiety is not a signal to hold tighter. It is a signal to strengthen yourself. If closeness destabilizes you, the work is not to manage her behavior. The work is to regulate your own inner world. The man who offers security does not say, "Don't leave." His presence says, "You are safe here, and I will be okay regardless." And that is the paradox women respond to most. Because a woman does not stay with the man who needs her to feel secure. She stays with the man who makes security feel natural. So ask yourself this one final question. Are you looking to be held, or are you capable of holding steady? Because when you become the place of calm rather than the seeker of comfort, attraction stops being fragile. And that is when intimacy stops being a risk and starts becoming a bond.